Sam, and I am back with another episode of Pessimistic at Best, the podcast, and I have a super special guest with me today. Oh. His name is also Sam. What's up, Sam?
What's up, Sam?
It's a Sam podcast kind of day. We're here. We're going to chit-chat about all sorts of things. Sam and I have been friends since, like, 6th grade.
Forever.
Right?
Forever.
Yeah, super long
Crazy.
time. I knew him when he was puny, and so was I. My mom was obsessed with him, especially in middle school. She still is, honestly. You guys get along
I'm
great.
flattered.
Yeah.
I'm flattered. One artist to the next.
But yeah, I mean, we met when we were at Toki. Middle school was a crazy time. I know we talked a little bit about it on the podcast, but now we have a middle school boy with me. So.
Yeah. When I was listening to you guys' podcast, the You and Zoe podcast, Oh my God, I was dying.
Lots of good memories and lots of bad ones.
It brought me back.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
He brought up when he used to date one of our best friends, Ruth. Those are great
yes.
memes.
When Zoe brought up how everybody knows that you guys are going to kiss after school, and like, I just remembered, like, getting, like, Ruth as my girlfriend. I was like, oh, shit, this is going to happen to me. And everyone's going to be watching me.
Yes, in a circle.
Yeah.
Cheering you on.
It was terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Then you have to just, like, get on the bus and go home.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, bye. Yeah. See you later.
Love that. And middle school relationships are so funny because you don't really hang out, like, outside of school.
No. Me and Ruth would, but we would play soccer.
Hell yeah. Not at all in a relationship.
No.
Okay, that's so the most you and Ruth thing I think ever. That's hilarious, actually.
It's a very intimate game.
Yeah, that's so true.
And like, I'd go over to her house, and like, her parents would make us lunch. And,
oh, that's actually really sweet.
Yeah, shout out Ruth.
Yes, love that. Well, that's so funny. I know. Well, and in middle school, like, I guess, because I don't know how my mom met you, but my mom, you were always so good with parents.
Yeah.
You still are.
Thanks.
You're definitely, you're one of those kids. But yeah, and I don't know, plus you're artsy, which we'll get into, but my mom's an artist, so I think immediately she was like, this kid rocks. He's so polite. He's artistic. We love him. And you were all smiley.
I don't remember when I met your mom,
Yeah.
but I can't remember if it was early high school or
I think it was middle school.
Okay, I have a very specific memory of her making us peanut butter noodles.
Oh, hell yeah.
Early in high school.
Yes, I think I have that photo on my Instagram still.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, I remember that too. I know. In high school, I feel like we would just like go to somebody's house every single day after school.
Yeah.
And stay there all day.
Yeah, it was. I remember in junior year, it was me, you, James, and Sophia. Mm-hmm. We would hang out like every day after school.
Every day. Yeah. It was so fun.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah, those were the days.
I wish that we could do that now, but
I know.
COVID type shit.
I know, it's horrible. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're doing this today.
Yeah,
That's good.
I got tested and
Exactly.
I'm here and we're
then we
safe.
can record in person. It's more fun.
Yeah. You were like Zoom, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
No.
I'll just quarantine and
Yeah, exactly.
We'll do it.
Exactly. So it's funny because out of all the people I've had on my podcast so far, I think, like I told you, I think you're my first optimist.
Yeah. Okay. So let's run it back to when I was listening to your first episode, and I was just making breakfast by myself in my kitchen listening, and I was like, wow, she hates me. She for sure hates me.
And to clear the air, I definitely don't. I told him he's one of those good kind. Like, he doesn't have that,
Annoying?
Yeah, it's not like the... I'm trying to think of the term,
It's
like
like
the
overly
bad
optimistic.
kind of positivity.
Yeah,
like,
it's overly optimistic.
Yeah.
It's like when the situation does not call for optimism, but
Yeah.
the person is still
Yes.
being like, you're just not looking at it this
Yes.
way. No, shut the fuck
Yeah,
up. Like,
see?
Don't do that.
You're just like happy-go-lucky, I feel like.
Yeah,
That's what you are.
Yeah, definitely.
And you always see the good in people, but that's awesome. Like, here I am complaining. You would never complain about anything.
No, Molly does that enough for both of us.
Exactly. See? Yeah. Me and Molly, we're like two peas in a pod.
Yes. No, I told her about the podcast, and she's like, I mean, if she has me on, I'm just gonna, I could go for hours. And I was
Exactly.
like, no doubt, you guys would just feed off each other. It'd be great.
100%. But yeah, I mean, and so there's definitely a difference there. Like, you have that good kind of positivity. Like, that's why you're here. I'm trying to learn from you.
Thanks.
Definitely.
That means a lot. Yeah, no, for a second there, I was like, wow, I was questioning our friendship. You know, I was like, does she really like me? Is this a facade? I don't know.
Hilarious. No, and Sam's one of my very best friends, so it's not a facade. We're best friends for life.
It's true.
And I feel like Your positivity honestly gets you pretty far. You are so good at meeting people and making friends. That's something I've always admired about you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're awesome. And parents, obviously.
Thank you.
And you're so good at that. And I feel like that just, I don't know, like, especially being in a creative field like you are, it's totally all about who you know and collaborating and, like, you know, finding people to do cool shit with. You're so good at that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah. So my dad would, by the time I was old enough to walk, like 2 or 3, he would like have me shaking hands.
Yeah.
Like when we would go to the bank and he would be like, okay, this is Judy. And I like grew up in a small town. So like my mom, she moved to Madison when my parents divorced when I was a year old. And so my dad lived in Broadhead and my mom lived in Madison. So when I would go down to Broadhead, it's a town of 3,000 people. Like everyone's super neighborly. Everyone knows each other. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody knows everybody's business, which is interesting. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, totally. He was having me, walk up and introduce myself by the time I was 3. So yeah, shout out Dad.
I love that.
My mom's social too, though. So yeah, it helps. It helps having like super social parents that were like, nope, this is who you're gonna be.
Totally. Well, and they raised a good kid. So,
Thanks.
But yeah, I mean, and so like, I don't know, you have so much cool shit going on. You're always so busy. Like you're juggling a lot.
Yes, I'm juggling a lot. That is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm juggling a lot.
And even like throughout quarantine, I feel like you've picked up new gigs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm super lucky. I feel like super blessed that I have had the opportunities and the privilege to be in the position that I'm in, where I'm not worrying about my financial or economic, stability, and instead, like, furthering my opportunities, which
definitely.
I'm lucky. Mm-hmm. I'm lucky.
And you get to create, which is so cool. And so, I don't know, like, I want to dive into all that good stuff. So, like, I don't know, like, I guess let's start with where some of that kind of came from. Like, just like what got you into art, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
because you always have been.
Yeah, I have been. So, at a really young age, my grandfather, my mom's dad, he was a father figure to me, like, right from the start. And he's an artist, so I have a clothing brand. We'll get into that.
Yes.
Called VINK. His name was Vincent. So his nickname was VINK.
I love that. Yeah, so special.
And so that's where it came from. And so over the course from 1983 to 2015, he recorded over 400 hours of like family video and just video. And it was all on tape. And before he passed, he transferred it from tape to CD. So I just have like a bin of CDs like literally over like 150 CDs, and they're all labeled with dates and descriptions of who's in it, where they come in the video. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like
that's so cool.
Like Xmas '93, like Mark farted on Sarah or something.
Oh, I love that.
Like
that's
little
awesome.
details. Yeah, it's crazy. So like that's really where it started. At least like thinking about how like to archive information, which is like something that I do think like a lot. Like I pull videos, photos, poetry, whatever from my family or specifically VINK. So yeah, that's really what got me into it.
That's cool. I actually did not know that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I tried to like go through and watch all the videos. It just was too much.
That's a lot.
I mean, like they're all at my grandma's house, and my grandma lives with my aunt, and who's my mom's twin, and she just looked at me cockeyed, and she's like, "There's no fucking way you're watching this." Like, you know how much boring shit he recorded? Like, it was the most mundane things.
Hilarious.
Like, he would just, like, there'd be a half-hour video of, like, my mom training her dog. Like, or him zooming in on my aunt, like, passed out on the couch at a family event.
Hilarious.
Like, just, like, so much. But, like, there was also those little gold nuggets, like
totally,
that,
the really
like,
special
yes,
moments.
exactly.
Yeah.
So he's from Lithuania. Him teaching my cousin Lithuanian.
That's
so
cool.
like with her on his lap and him pointing to different body parts and the nose is Nausis.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it is adorable.
And I will say, you probably can't catch all the special moments unless you're always filming, even if it's boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
exactly. And there's so very few times where he was actually on camera because he was always behind the camera.
Sure.
So I kept some of the videos where it was like, okay, he's on this one, like this one, I'm in, and
yeah.
I like have a whole stack of like me because like he outraised me. So he was like always recording me. He was recording me swimming. I was obsessed with snakes. And they lived on a farm. Yeah, they lived on a farm. So like the first thing, and he always joked about this, the first thing that I would ask them when I got out to the farm was, have you seen any snakes or toads?
And show me the reptile.
Yeah, I need it right now. And like I would demand he like take me to the barn and like look for animals and shit. So yeah, it was funny. It's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's such a cool origin story. I feel like that's so special. Like it just means a lot.
It does.
And yeah, I mean, I know the clothing line. I have some pieces. I have a hat or two.
Yep.
It's very cool.
Appreciate that.
I love it.
I
think it's so
that.
cool. And I really love the background story that just adds another layer to it. You know, it makes it so personal.
Yeah. So my stepmom was a home ec teacher. So she was like sewing, always actively sewing and making things. And so, you know, she really inspired me to like, I would make pillows, like, you know, simple projects like that. And that's where like my affinity for like sewing and like creating like, you know, my own special garments came from. And then it just progressed. So started like drawing on shirts, and before I started, you know, screen printing or whatever, embroidering. And, eventually, after my grandpa passed in 2015, so he gave me a hat, or I got a hat after he passed, that he had painted.
That is painted.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So it's painted with his nickname, and it's like back in the 90s or whatever. So he had it for a long time, and everyone in my family was like, "Yeah, it looks the best on you." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And like I didn't really think about it. And then I, you know, had this in my room for a number of months, and his loss was obviously terribly painful for me. And it was, you know, the VINK clothing. I started painting VINK on certain, you know, garments, and it became, you know, a healing process. It was like more so like remembering him when I was doing it. And like, it, you know, it was just for me. I wasn't trying to sell these pieces or anything. So yeah, that's really how it, you know, it started. And then, eventually I discovered screen printing. I graduated from UW-Madison with my bachelor's in fine arts in printmaking. And it all started with like literally one screen printing class, and I was like, oh, I'm hooked.
Nice.
I cannot do anything else.
Definitely. Well, and you're very good at it.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah,
it keeps you busy.
It keeps me so busy. It keeps me really busy, which is good.
Yeah.
And lately, so I've been running a print shop out of the nonprofit I work for, 100 State. It's a co-working space right off the Capitol Square. So we moved back in March to a new space, and the new space it had a room with running water, which in the last space we did not have running water.
Oh, that's so cool.
You know,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we moved in.
Very important.
Yeah, we were touring the space, and all of a sudden we came on this like little side room that like obviously wasn't going to be used for anything important. I looked at, you know, the realtor, and I was like, is that running water? And they're like, yeah. And I looked at my boss, and I was like, this is the art room. This is happening right here. I'm making a print shop. And so, you know, fast forward 6 months, and now I'm running a print shop, and it's fun. It's weird. You know, printing for yourself is much different than printing for other people.
Totally.
Yeah, taking on like that creative responsibility and creative problem solving is for other people is very interesting.
I can totally see how printing for others is a lot different than printing for yourself.
Yeah, you have to take like a creative step back, because you can't all of a sudden like it's not your place to care about the graphic or whatever they're printing, and like that's really hard. It's really hard for me. I think, and it'll get easier, obviously. Yeah, it's just, especially when you're making like, you know, like since I have VINK and stuff, I would like think really critically about other people's clothes, like just day to day and stuff, and especially when I'm printing it. So yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. I worked at a print shop out in Colorado last year for 2 months, and you know that's where like I first experienced like printing for other people, because it was like a fine art print house. So it was like we weren't printing on clothes, we were printing on like, you know, really nice pieces of paper, and like for, you know, professional artists that would like come for a week. And so the whole thing, so it was an internship for me. And my friend Teddy Benson, he helped me get this internship because he had worked there in college. And he was moving back from Spain.
See, it's all about who you know, folks.
It is all about who you know. Very, very true. And so he was moving back from Spain at the time, and he texted me, and he was like, yo, I'm going back to Steamboat, Colorado, like to work at Omi Graphics. You should intern there for the summer. We'd get to work together. Like it'd be super fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, that would be so fun. Yeah. So, you know, I sent in my cover letter and resume and stuff, and I thought, you know, like, oh, like I bet they have so many, like it's not gonna be like this. And they called me, and they're like, yeah, you got it.
Nice.
Like no interview or anything. They're like, oh yeah, you know Teddy? Yeah, you're good. Like,
love that.
Yeah, and like I get there, and it's like the most like they're great. They're super professional. The master printer's name's Sue Omi. She's ran the shop for 10 years now.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's a really cool shop. It's one of a kind.
Yeah, what a cool experience.
Yeah. And like, especially not, that's what I went to school for. So I knew, that these places existed, and like we have a spot like that in Madison called Tandem Press, but I'd never worked at one.
Totally.
So going into that space and experiencing that was really cool, and getting to know these artists on a really personal level. So a part of the internship was like you live for free, you eat for free, you don't get paid,
hell yeah.
but like you just you live in Steamboat for however long you want for free.
Sweet.
Which is amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so I thought, they're going to put me up in a cot and it's going to be cheap and like I'm going to be staying in the studio, and I'm totally fine with that. I didn't expect much. So we go.
That's so like you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was like, yeah.
Cool with whatever.
Yeah. I was trying to be. And so I get there, and Teddy, he had picked me up from the airport in Denver, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's really nice. Like you're gonna be living in fucking luxury." And I was and I was like, "No way, you're fucking with me." And so we get there, and I have a whole floor to myself.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like a granite island in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
Like my own bedroom. So the bathroom. The bathroom was crazy because like a glass owner, like a person that owned a glass company.
Okay.
He owned this building previous, and that's him and his wife had lived in this upper flat, and then in the lower flat was the studio.
Okay.
So the upper flat is where I was staying, and they had just decked it out with all this crazy glass, and in the bathroom it was floor to ceiling mirrors.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
The whole bathroom?
The whole bathroom.
Oh my God.
So it was
you
really.
can see your naked body from so many angles.
I know it was crazy. It was crazy. They had.
That's pretty cool though.
They had a steam shower that it was closed in, so like you could go in and like there was a sauna button. So like
God,
there was a
so
bench.
Nice.
And, I know.
Insane.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna be showering with a hose and like da da. And like, no, I have a sauna, a walk-in shower in my own bedroom.
Hell yeah! What more could you need?
I know. That's what I'm saying. A funny part of that internship. So the artist lives there with you.
Okay.
Like in the upper flat with you. There's 2 bedrooms. So they get the nicer one, you get the not as nice one. And every morning it'd be like my task to like make them food. So like, so like I would wake up early and like make them coffee, and like it depended on the artist, right? Like some would like, I had one artist that was staying there, so it was week-long intervals, and they would get up at like 6 a.m. and work until like they would work all throughout the day with us and just continue working until like 2 a.m.
Oh my
and
God.
then just like sleep for 4 hours and then get up and do it again. And like
that is dedication.
Yeah. And she was just like, I'm here for a week. I want to make a ton of work.
That's a good mindset.
Yeah, it was cool. But then some artists were like, sleeping till 10, and then I'm up there whipping them up eggs and pancakes, and I'm like, what's up? And
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so it was pretty funny. And like making lunch and stuff. So I definitely like expanded my culinary skills when I was there, as well as my printmaking skills.
Yeah.
So it was
multifaceted.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's fucking awesome.
And one of the people that actually worked in the print shop, he was a trained chef. So he was like, he taught me the importance of sesame seed oil.
I love that.
Yeah.
We have that in our house right now.
Folks out there listening, sesame seed oil, add it to everything.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's good to know.
That was his thing.
I never know when to
He had
use
like
it.
3 bottles of it, just like ready to go, ripping it, taking shots. I'm just kidding.
Hilarious. Well, yeah, that's so cool. So, I guess I totally knew about that internship, but I didn't realize it was like that. Like that you got to kind of stay with all these cool people.
Yeah, it was a really very unique experience.
So, what exactly were you printing for them? Like,
sure.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so they would come with maybe a set of ideas, a set of images, and we would pull inspiration from their past works. And so the master printer, Sue Omi, that was really her job, to work with these artists one-on-one and develop an edition. So the whole way this print shop would operate is we develop this edition of, let's say, 30 prints that we're going to make. And most of them are all different. So like my job as an intern, like Sue would be like, okay, we're going to cut this plate into this shape, and like a plate, as I'm referring to, is like it could be a plastic piece or a metal piece. And there's like so much printmaking jargon.
Totally.
Yeah. So we develop all these plates and we print them for them. So they're like actually, have finished works by the time the week is over. They have
that's so cool.
Yeah. And the way that, the print shop actually like makes money is, so Sue is paid for her time. So they pay for like the week, but then at the end, Sue keeps like 20 to 30% of the prints that they make together, and they sell them.
Okay.
So like I'm really bummed that I missed. It was like the week before I got there. They were working with this artist named Tycho Chandler, and who's a Colorado-based artist, and seeing her works are amazing. So, for example, they would sell them on their site for however much money. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, working with different artists, it definitely opened up my mind to like, okay, so you really have to be like, you have to cater to them. Because
Totally.
like some of them came in and were like the first person I had, no one really liked her. But
sure,
like she was nice enough. She was just like a mean old lady.
Yeah. Hey, those exist.
I'm just gonna call it like I see it. I'm a straight shooter.
Love that about you.
Yeah. And living with her was very interesting.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because she went to bed at like 7 p.m. And like,
that's really
and would and woke up really early, but expected me to be making coffee.
Yeah.
So like I was,
What
it was a weird schedule.
Yeah.
It was a very weird schedule. So if I was out late and steamed, I'd like tiptoe up these like really wooden creaky stairs and
sneak
like,
it back into your grandma's house.
I'm like, oh, this is so weird. I haven't done this in a while. Feels like
Hilarious.
sneaking out.
Totally.
When you and Zoe talked about sneaking out, did you ever get caught?
Honestly, no, and that's why we always did it at my house because my mom's deaf, and so
that's so nice for sneaking out.
it was great. She's not like for everyone listening who does not know my mom. She's not like 100% deaf, but she has hearing aids and like takes them out at night and just can't hear shit, and it's awesome because it made it really easy to sneak out. I don't know what the fuck my dad was doing, but my mom dead, so it was fine. And yeah, that's why we always chose my house. And then the boys could go and stay at like Sam Caravello's, and it was really close by, and we'd all meet up at the park and
just they're all just chilling.
Bull, yeah.
Bull. Do what you do.
Yeah, so
that's nice. See, I got caught sneaking out.
Did you?
I did.
Oh.
And it was awful.
Yeah, I'm sure. Scary.
Yes. So I was literally doing nothing of consequence. I was out at our friend Joe Borgroff's house, and we were watching Workaholics, and it was probably like, it was dumb. And I was just hanging out with him.
Yeah.
Like my curfew was 10:30.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that.
Yeah,
that was really insane.
Mom, if you're listening, that was awful. I'm not ever doing that to my child.
Yeah.
So my curfew was 10:30. So obviously I'm gonna sneak out. Like once I had a car, I was like, oh, it's over.
Bye.
Yeah. Peace the fuck out. Like I'm dipping out the basement door, be back in the morning type shit. And so I was watching Workaholics with Joe's, and I just get this text from my stepdad Ted. It says, "You're dead."
Oh no! That was so scary.
Yeah, and I just
Ominous.
I know, and I was just like, okay, I guess I gotta go home now.
I feel like at that point I would never go home. Like I'd be like, I guess I live here now.
Yeah. It was like, and funny enough, in like a year and a half, I did end up living there. But,
that's true. That's so true.
That's
yes.
a whole different story.
Yes,
but,
it is.
So yeah, I get home. I expected to be berated at the door.
For sure.
Like, as soon as I got in, I thought, they were just going to scream at me. And it was like a scene in the movie where, like, you don't know anyone's in the house, and they, like, flick on the lights, and they're, like, drinking wine, and they're like, so where you've been? Where have you been? And, so I walked in the living room, and my mom's like, what were you up to? And I was like, I was doing
watching Workaholics.
I was like, this is dumb, and I told her, and she's like, we'll just talk about this in the morning.
Well, I will say, I guess there was one time, so it wasn't so much sneaking out, but I had stayed out past curfew, and my mom would always try and wait up. My dad goes to bed super early, like falls asleep on the couch at 8 p.m. watching the news, finally goes to bed around 9 type shit, but My mom is a night owl, sort of, but she drinks a lot of wine, hangs out, watches HGTV, and usually falls asleep. And then, the whole deaf thing kind of falls into play. So I got home way after curfew. It was probably like 4 a.m. or something, and she was asleep on the couch downstairs, TV on. So I sneak past her and just go straight upstairs. Don't wake her up.
Front door.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then so I went upstairs, got into bed, and then I got a text from my mom. So I'm sure I rustled her a little bit, but I got a text from her, and she was like, I know that you're not home yet. And I was like, Mom, I'm literally upstairs in my room. And so sassy. Even though I had just gotten home, she thought she got me.
Yeah. But she was sleeping and you snuck past her. She's like, oh, I'm going to get her. And go downstairs and wait for her like my mom did when she passed out. Yeah. That's so funny.
It was really funny. Yeah, Mom, if you're listening, got your ass. But yeah, so I guess I never really got caught, but
it was close. It was a close call.
It was.
One to ride home. No, wow. It was close. That's hilarious.
I mean, okay, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know with 100 States, so you're doing a lot of printmaking there, and I knew you were going to do a class. I think that was before COVID kind of maybe ruined that a little bit.
Yes. So a big thing that I really want to do is I love to teach people how to screen print, because when I was taught, it was it really opened my eyes to something that I had no idea, about. And
that's so cool.
Yeah. And most T-shirts are printed with screen printing. There's so many uses for it. Whether it be printing concert posters, whatever.
Totally.
You can you can print on anything. You can print on wood, gold, paper. I had a teacher print on 24 karat gold.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
An 8 foot by 5 foot slab, and it was it was coated. It wasn't solid to be crazy, but yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah, it was.
That's
insane.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I can dive into that later, but yeah. So that's something big that I really want to do after COVID, and what I was planning on doing before COVID is as soon as I opened up a screen print shop, I want to teach workshops and teach people how to do it, because it's super doable to do from home.
I love that. I think that's so cool, and you'll definitely be a great teacher. I already see that. Something I love about you is if you have an idea, you just go after it. I think that's so awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
It's great.
Yeah, my dad a woodworker, welder type guy, do it yourself. So I think that helps.
Definitely.
Yeah, and also I'm super privileged to have access to that too, just because all these DIY projects would not have been possible, one, without his knowledge, and two, his tools.
Totally.
And his workspace.
That's so true.
So the fact that I can just be hey, can you make me a 6 foot by 4 foot frame out of copper, and he'll just be yeah, bust it out tomorrow, and
love that,
which is really nice. And so I thought that it has really taught me that you can do whatever you want whenever you want. You just got to put your mind to it.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's cheesy and cliche and shit. But,
no, I love it. I love it.
But
that's the thing though. It is, but it's also it's true still.
It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially with this print shop, it was labor of love.
Definitely.
I had to do all the plumbing myself. I built all the shelves myself. I
didn't realize it was so hands-on.
Oh, I rewired the light box.
Look at you go.
It was I've learned a lot of really good skills. They're handy skills over the course of COVID. Just okay, I'm gonna plumb today, and I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, but
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and I had somebody at 100 States. So 100 States a co-working space. I basically explain it like a gym membership for an office space. You just pay a monthly membership fee. You get 24 hours access to the space, free Wi-Fi, you get access to our community events. So a big part of my job before was, putting together a gallery show. I know you've been to a few.
Yes,
So I would curate a gallery show, 25 to 30 artists per show every 6 months. And we would, we'd put on a show. It was super fun.
Great snacks, great tunes.
Yes, great vibes.
Mm-hmm. Extremely great vibes.
Yes, it's true.
Immaculate vibes.
So basically, since it's a co-working space, there's so many different types of people in these spaces. There's, entrepreneurs, there's startups, there's people that, run their own businesses that, or just or are working remote. There's a girl that works for the MLB, Major League Baseball.
Oh, shit.
She's a marketing person. So she works out of the space because she works remote. And she's, all these people, they've all been working remote before COVID. So not a lot of change, not a lot of change for them. And obviously the space is a lot slower now just because it's a community space. Community spaces aren't doing very well.
No, they're definitely not.
So, and like we're one of the only co-working spaces in Madison that has stayed open throughout COVID.
Oh, really?
Yes, like Industrious, a big one on the square, they closed. There are a bunch of co-working spaces all over the country, not just Madison, going under. And it's a shame.
Yeah, and that
It's
does
shitty.
suck. I also feel like, interestingly, those will be really popular kind of as soon as this is over, because I think a lot of companies will get rid of their office spaces.
100%.
Yeah.
And we are expecting a huge boom.
Yeah.
In June, July,
Right.
August.
As soon as there's that fucking vaccine.
Yeah,
man.
yep. Slap.
Yep.
Hit me up with it.
Right.
Yeah. Stab me. I need it. No, but and especially because there's going to be a vacuum. Mm-hmm. Like we were the first ones in Madison, so we were the first co-working space in Madison.
Oh,
7
what?
years. Yeah, in 2013.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and the people that started it are amazing. They've all gone on to do big things, whether it be, individually or with different companies.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of stuff has, come out of 100 State.
Well, and what I love about your guys' space is that it also has, it's like really the only one I can think of that has like a really creative base.
Yes.
Like
yeah,
and like
definitely.
in arts and just like,
we try to put our hand in a lot of of different places. Yeah, it's a really cool space. It's definitely one of a kind. Has a very DIY feel.
Totally.
Literally the way they started out was in a train car.
Oh shit.
Yeah. The one down on West Wash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the coffee shop?
Yes. They started in that.
Oh my God.
That was the first 100 State. And then they
That's
moved.
so cool.
Yeah, they moved up to the Ian's Pizza on State Street.
Yes.
Like right by the Capitol.
Yep.
They moved into that space above Ian's Pizza. Before it was Ian's Pizza. Mm-hmm. Long before it was Ian's Pizza. That was
That's
100
the address,
State.
yeah, okay.
That was 100
That makes
State.
a lot
And
of
that's
sense.
that's how it got started and They weren't in the train car very long, but like they had doors for desks. They literally put doors.
Innovative,
yeah. They made it happen.
Totally. And plus, then you can call it trendy, and it is.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and boom. Yeah. This is on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, invest in us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, it definitely has a very do-it-yourself feel. And, that's something that when we moved because of COVID, so we moved out of what felt like a very corporate space. And I know you haven't seen the new space.
Yeah.
But every member that's came back during this time is like, wow, I love this space. It feels
Nice.
like the old 100 State. It feels, it's more community-oriented. It's a lot more open.
Totally.
Like you can hear... I always like to say a lot of accidental business happens at 100 State because I
love that,
like you'll be at a table and then you'll be hearing somebody else having a conversation like 3 or 4 tables over, and you'll get involved in that conversation. Then all of a sudden you're making something with them.
Totally.
And then
totally.
you're going down.
Collaborating.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's again going back to how many different things people do there. It's like, oh, you need a graphic designer? Go talk to Sarah. If you need a web developer, go talk to Cole. Literally,
that's awesome.
people just help each other out, and we're on we have a really active Slack channel. So if people need help, they just post, and somebody's replying within 20 minutes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's special.
Yeah, and
It's
having
special.
access to a network like that is just really that's huge. That's so valuable.
Especially right now. And I mean, we're being super safe, and really there's no more than 10 people in the office at a time now. And I mean, it's still a sizable space. It's not as big as the last space, but it's sizable.
Yeah,
and,
you've spread out.
Yeah, totally. Everybody's spread out and stuff. Mask policy, all that stuff.
Well, people kind of need that sense of community right now,
I know.
That's
I know.
huge. You don't want to lose that.
Exactly. And so we do this thing called Scotch O'Clock every Friday. We did it when it was warm in the park. So, and before COVID, obviously, it was in the office space itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, every Friday at 4:30, everybody breaks out beers and scotch
That's
and
so fun.
gathers around one table. So yeah, it was, and plays board games, chess, whatever. It was we play music. It's a cool time.
Totally.
And that's a big thing that I missed. That
Definitely.
community aspect. I think that's a thing that everybody misses, but
Yeah.
specifically from 100 State. Yeah, that community is, and they've really showed. We started a GoFundMe because again, everybody's feeling the economic effects of
Absolutely.
COVID, especially co-working spaces. So we started a GoFundMe. That's been going really well, and it just shows that the community is really
They care.
Yeah, they do. They really
Totally.
do. And people are doing
That's huge.
fundraisers and auctions and bake sales, and all of it's going to 100 State. And it's like, wow, people care.
Totally.
It's not like, because all these, I said that we were the first one, and then a bunch of like different corporate ones moved in, like Industrious and Novel, and there's merit to that, but what we sell at 100 State, or what we provide, is the community aspect.
Yeah.
That's not something that you can find at different co-working spaces throughout Madison. So it's awesome that the community still continues to back us, even though they can't do it physically.
Totally. Yeah. No, that's huge. That just goes to show that it really matters to everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's so cool. And look at you. You're such a good spokesperson for them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, and I'm not even like trying. Like,
No,
it's just,
you care about it.
I do. I really do.
And how long have you been working there?
4 years.
Yeah, that's a long
Yeah.
time.
So 2 of it was I was unpaid intern for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
You are a dedicated man.
Thanks. Yeah. So I knew it'd pay off, and I'd get into a position where it was eventually paid. And obviously, I don't do it for the money. Well, especially when I was in school, it was great because I could get credit for it. I squeezed like 12 credits out of that.
Oh, I love that.
So
yes.
so like worth
it.
They were paying for I was like getting some sort of trade off, and it was like great experience.
Totally.
Because like I always wanted to put together art shows, and like I always wanted, and like going back to the like how my dad is like he trained me to be a social person.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes, he did from the jump.
Yeah, from the jump. So like that's something that I always would talk to artists in school and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is easy. I just like tell them to come and be in the show.
Absolutely.
Like I get to meet them, and then like they might give me
totally.
So like it's great. So that's how I got started. So I was actually in a show first.
Okay, there?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So I got a email through my school email, and it was like, apply to this show, and I applied with a piece. It got accepted. I got there, and the art director at the time, so she was the community director as well, and to her, no fault of her own, she really was just, it was kind of forced on her, just because the previous art director had a fantastic opportunity in California, and he had to leave, and then all of a sudden there was like a few weeks before the show, and she had to put this together. So she did a great job. She put together the show. I came and helped out and helped hang pieces, and she was like, hey, like if you ever want to help, like feel free to come back and just hit me up. And so I hit her up, and so like I worked under her, Meg Brewer, for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And then when she left, she got a job in Chicago. I moved into the position of the art director, and then eventually it's changed into the creative director, just because I'm juggling more than just the art now. I'm doing a lot of the community stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you're bringing cool new ideas to the table, so.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely try to break out of, just the art bubble too, just because I think, while it's a very important part of what I do at 100 State, it's not, I want to involve the community as much as possible.
Totally. Okay, so then do you use that space for most of the printing you do for VINK?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Yeah, so it's great. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And like that was like the biggest thing that I was worried about after school, was like, how am I going to print?
Yeah, like you have to have access
to... Yeah,
to...
how am I going to screen print? Because like, yes, you can do it at home, but with certain things and like with a big enough space.
Totally.
And you've seen my apartment.
Yeah.
It's not that big.
Yeah.
And so not big enough for a light table washout booth, spread, like power washer and like then a big ass table to print.
You need a whole nother apartment.
Yes.
That.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I neneeded a studio.
Yeah.
So this really solved that problem of
totally.
like, I can now print all my stuff there, which is great. And so I go in on weekends and nights and stuff, and just do VINK stuff. So
that's fucking awesome. Yeah.
I got 30 hoodies in the mail today.
Woohoo!
Doing
hoodies.
Olive hoodies.
Exciting.
Yeah, little. We're doing a haiku hoodie.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So talking about like
archiving
info. Yeah, I think you did. I posted on my Instagram story.
Hell yeah. Oh, I'm excited.
VINK was a poet. Let's put it that way. So yeah, and it's all in like typewriter. So it looks.
It looks so dope.
Yeah. So I'm gonna like take that font, like that text exactly, and just like transfer it to screen print.
I love that.
Thanks.
That's so cool.
Yeah, thanks. And something that I would like really, it was hard for me to balance like my creative expression and within VINK. I'm talking about my creative expression versus like my family's expectations for my creative expression, because like VINK to you without the story doesn't wouldn't correlate that with
Yeah.
all these memories and my grandfather, and like there's so many more layers for my family. I remember one of the first run of hoodies I made, it had like a pretty graphic like face on it, and it was like 2 colors, red and black, and it was pretty
James
edgy.
has it.
Yeah. You know, I showed it to my grandma, his wife, and she's like, well, what does that have to do with him? And it made me really think, like, like, how do I balance this? It's a really fine line between, like, respecting his memory and also, like, doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, honoring him. And
exactly.
still,
like,
totally.
and, like, the roots of it, like, how it developed is, like, this was a healing process, and I want it, and it's a passion project more than anything.
Absolutely.
I think balancing that has become easier. It's still something that I have to navigate all the time, but it's cool to critically think about that stuff.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, a good challenge for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think you're doing a great job. I love all the pieces, and I definitely like knowing the backstory, even as someone who, I never met your grandpa, but that's fucking awesome. I just think it makes it that much more special.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, I think that about wraps up all my questions for you.
Thank you.
Of course. I'm so glad we got the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, this was super fun.
And I'm going to put, links to all of your social media in the show notes so
Please.
that everyone can go check out your work and just, all the cool shit that you have going on.
Thank you.
Something we didn't talk about, but we'll plug it still, is your photos in Thrasher, because that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
He's a big skater boy.
Skater boy. She said, see you later, boy.
But yeah, and I don't know, you've also built a really cool community around that.
Definitely. That's something I could talk about for hours and hours. Yeah, the skateboarding community in Madison is really unparalleled. It's small and tight. I've made a lot of lifelong friends through skateboarding, and
totally.
That's like just it's such an easy way to make friends.
Totally.
Like, it's like, oh, you skate? Yeah, I skate. And like, cool.
Let's skate together now.
Let's skate. Let's just do it. And so shout out Marby.
Such a cool photo.
Yeah. So the photo that I got in Thrasher is of her, Marby Princess, on Instagram. So yeah, she's amazing. Really good friend. We just shot this past weekend. I was speaking to you briefly about that, and so there will hopefully be another photo
Hell
soon.
yes.
Yes.
I don't skateboard, but I know Thrasher, so that's a big deal.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
But yeah, you just have so much cool shit going on. I'm always so proud of you. And
thank you. Same.
Yeah.
Same. You're really doing well with this podcast. I saw it, and I was like, like, she's starting a podcast. That's awesome. And then, I listened to the first one. I've had not like a lot of friends, but I've had friends start podcasts.
Yeah.
Not as good as you.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't have came on to you unless I like really, admired it and like really thought highly of it. So,
well, that means so much.
Yeah, well, like, and especially with James doing the little jingle at the beginning, and
he did kill the jingle. He killed it.
Well, the sound just sounds great, and I mean, you have a really good radio voice, like not radio voice, but you know what I mean, like on-air voice, like you hold a lot of emotion in your tone. Yeah.
I'm glad. I can't contain it.
I know. I actually was like dying laughing at the first episode.
I was also a little bit drunk.
I know. I was gonna say, like, when you said like I'm also 2 glasses of wine, and I was like, wow, yes, that's what I'm saying.
So that always helps.
Yes.
We couldn't drink for this one because it's 9 a.m. But
yeah, but we're drinking coffee. We're here. We're productive.
Similar feeling.
Yeah. Just buzzing, just a little shaky. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, we'll have to do this again soon.
Yes.
Also, you're a great guest. I'm going to have you on again for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like to talk.
I know you do. It's great because so do I.
Yeah. No, I feel like we could do this for like 3 more hours.
For sure.
Yeah, you guys probably don't want to listen.
We'll cut it short for you guys. But yes, you guys absolutely have to check out Sam on all his social media platforms. I'll link them, and I don't know, I'm excited for this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will look forward to talking with you again next week.
See you guys.